Live from Staten Island University Hospital Community Park, CSI Sportsnet brings you NCAA Division II baseball action live on the ECC Network. Today's second matchup of today's doubleheader features the Cougars of Caldwell University taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicholas Pavona, joined again on the call by my broadcast partner, John Venezia. And John, a very tough loss for the Dolphins in Game 1 of this doubleheader. They lose 7-3, had a 3-1 lead going into the sixth inning. A balk and a wild pitch brought home the second Caldwell run. They were then able to tie the game in the top of the seventh inning. They then got four more runs in the top of the eighth, and they win the game in 8 innings by the final of 7-3, putting their record to an early 1-0 start, as that was their first game of the season. They now look to sweep the doubleheader, today against the Dolphins, as they now drop to 2-6 after that Game 1 loss.
Yeah, when you looked at Caldwell, we mentioned it in the first broadcast. The resiliency, the face of adversity did not bother them one bit. They were able to stay within this game. Their pitching after the first inning was magnificent. They did not allow more than one run the rest of the game, and their pitching, keeping them in it, allowed the offense to go to work and find a way in the late innings to take advantage of some CSI miscues, as well as coming up with some big hits that ultimately gave them the edge in the first contest.
And the problem for the Dolphins in that first game really came down to is that not only, obviously, there were some issues in terms of, the balk happened, there was an error in the first inning, or I should say the second inning, that gave Caldwell their first run of the game. But the other problem for CSI in that game really came down to they weren't able to bring in any extra runs in that one. And that really, as you mentioned, came down to how good of a game Caldwell pitched in that game. They were able to get a good, strong start from Brandon Scalise after a slow first inning, got through the rest of the way. They then brought in Ben Foote the remainder of that game, was able to get the job done and not allow a run, and give Caldwell that first game with this doubleheader. They now look to sweep the doubleheader here in game number 2, as Christian Rinnick will be the leadoff hitter to kick off this second game of today's doubleheader. And just like that, one pitch in, and he's on first base after hit by a pitch.
Yeah, that's not how you want to start it. We talked about CSI pitching, especially in the late innings in Game 1, just unraveling, and ultimately that's what cost them the game here. But you can't start Game 2 by beating the leadoff hitter. So, again, we're already got action for the Cougars, so CSI's got to make sure that they can get out of this inning unscathed.
So Rinnick had a huge pivotal part in that Game 1 victory for Caldwell. And Michael First, the pitcher for the Dolphins, on the first pitch that he throws, hits the batter, and that being Rinnick, to now put him on first base and now bring up Stephen Young Jr., who also had a big at-bat in Game 1, an RBI single, I should say, that put Caldwell up by 2, and then Liam James would bring home a 2-run double to extend the lead to 4. The top of the order for Caldwell in that first game, John, a big reason that they won that game, but also a credit to the bottom of the order because they were able to work some extra at-bats and get back to the top of the line to get them some runs.
Yeah, and that's what they do, man. That's why it's so tough, especially in the sport of college baseball. Even if you're doing really well throughout the game and you're in command, if you let teams hang around, especially when you're not in the professional level, that's where bad things happen. As we have Rinnick with a steal after getting hit by a pitch, and already Caldwell has action on the bases and a man in scoring position.
Yeah, a very wild throw behind the plate for the Dolphins right there. The catcher for the Dolphins today is going to be J.J. Hunter, and we saw John as well in Game 1. Michael Kehoe had an injury during that first game on that play at home plate for Chris Palomini, keeping the game tied. But in that sequence, Michael Kehoe hurt his hand, it looked like. So he is not playing here in game number 2. So J.J. Hunter gets to start behind the plate. The Dolphin freshman will get the start. He'll be batting 5th. We'll bring the Dolphins' rest of the lineup in just a moment. At the plate right here is still the batter, Stephen Young Jr. Now has a runner in scoring position, trying to give Caldwell an early 1-0 lead potentially. Here comes the 1-2. That one swung on a miss for strike 3. So a huge out number 1 recorded by First, getting that strikeout, as Caldwell does keep the runner into scoring position.
That's a big out. That's a big bounce back there. You get the number 2 hitter out, and now you got to deal with the 3 and the 4 hitters. But you know what? it's important when you have something like that goes awry quickly with the hit by pitch and stolen base. They're able to come back and deliver an out, and now a couple pitches and you're out of this inning unscathed.
Well, good luck trying to retrieve that foul ball. That one went out of the entire stadium towards the Empire Outlets that are over here, towards St. George, here in Staten Island, New York. Now, John, I will say the one beauty of this second game, at least for us, is we have a scoreboard. Now, apparently, from what I heard, the board was on the whole time. The lighting and the dimness of the board was why we couldn't see it, as that was a base hit up the middle from Lombardi. They send the runner home. Here's the throw to the plate. It is cut off. No throw to the plate. It's an RBI single from Lombardi. Caldwell strikes first. They lead at 1-0.
Seventh, eighth innings, you saw Caldwell was able to plate 6 runs, and they ended that game hot, and they're starting this one out already out to a 1-0 start. Lombardi has been ripping. He was a key catalyst in that big comeback in game 1.
Lombardi had that hit where the hit and run was on for Caldwell back in that 7th. Or correction, yeah, it was in that 7th inning. He had the hit and run that put them at 2nd and 3rd. And then he got thrown out at the plate on that throw from Palomini, which is where Kehoe got injured. As I get a second look at that RBI hit. Lombardi, the left fielder today for the Cougars. And I think he got picked off, and he did. First picks him off at first, and there's now 2 away.
Yeah, that's nice right there because you give up the run, but now you're able to answer back. And listen, we saw it in the first game here. We're going to keep referencing this first game a lot with some symmetry. You give up an early lead, but with so much of the game left, basically the whole game left, 1 run is not the end of the world.
Big swing and a miss from James right there, and he's quickly down the count 0-2.
Just blowing the heater right by him first.
Yeah.
That's the important part of pitching here in this contest. You just got to attack the zone, make sure you're keeping the ball low, and let your fielders do the rest.
It's a shot to short. Going to be a tough play at short for Cetera, and he will make the throw in time to record the final out of the first inning. Caldwell, go ahead.
I was going to say, Ryan first. See, look, that's a good bounce back. 1 inning, not the end of the world. Now the Dolphins are back in the box, and they could do some damage themselves.
Well, we saw Caldwell do some damage in that top of the first inning. They get a run on the RBI single from Liam Lombardi. We now head into the home half of the first inning. Dolphins coming to bat. They trail this one, 1-0. And we are back for the home half of the first inning here at SIUH Community Park. A 1-0 lead already for Caldwell off of an RBI single from Liam Lombardi. And now the Dolphins will come to bat for the first time here in this second game, taking on John Regas, as he'll get the start for the Cougars in this game. We'll give you his stats from last season. For Regas, he only appeared in one game that was a start. He pitched an inning and 2/3, allowed 4 runs, all earned, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. And an interesting note in that game, John, did
Hmm.
not allow a single hit in that game.
Yeah, those are typically inverted stat lines there. You give up that many runs, but we noticed the BB column. Several free passes, in fact, 4 walks in an inning and 2/3, as you mentioned. That is usually the main cause of these big innings at the college level, is the absurd amount of walks, and we see that across every level.
So the Dolphins going with a bit of a different lineup for what we saw in game number one. And we'll see if maybe that provides some potential spark in this game. Leading off this game for the Dolphins is Christopher Riley. He gets to start out in left field. He's currently down the count 0-2 as he fouls that one off once again. Followed by him will be the third baseman TJ Leno. He now gets to start at third after starting at second base in game one. Chris Palomini will bat third at center field. AJ Vigliotti will bat fourth, the designated hitter. JJ Hunter batting fifth in at catcher. Jack Keogh batting sixth in right as Riley hits this one to left center field. That one's going to be trouble. That one's into the gap for an extra base hit. Riley's rounding second. He will potentially stay there, and he will hold up at second base and slide back in safely as Christopher Riley gets the Dolphins started here at the bottom of the first with a leadoff double.
How about that, huh? First start here, leading off, laces a rope in the left center power alley for a 2-bagger. CSI, baby. They're in business.
Dolphins certainly hope that they are in business and potentially can tie this game. And I mentioned it, a little bit of a different lineup. I'll go through the rest of the lineup in just a moment, but a different top of the order for the Dolphins in this game. They do keep Palomini and Vigliotti in the 3 and 4 spot, but a lot different starters in this game. And I think for the Dolphins, they're trying to get more run production at this point because, game one obviously did not go the way they wanted, getting the 3 runs in that game. But also what we saw in that first inning against Salisi that they're trying to do against Regas right now is make sure that he works up that pitch count. And as we mentioned, he had a lot of command issues in his one start last season.
Exactly. And the thing is, a lot of times, pitchers, especially for Caldwell, playing their second game, and a lot of these pitchers this is their first time out. Sometimes you got to get to them early. You might only have 1 or 2 opportunities throughout a game, and when you have the chance, you got to make sure you strike while the iron's hot.
Comes the 0-2, and misses on the inside and low for a ball. So after Jack Keogh, who's in right field, batting 6th, is the first baseman Chris Bardner. He's batting 7th. Batting 8th and at second is Nico Rodriguez, and then batting 9th and at short it's Anthony Cetera. As I mentioned, Michael First gets the mound for the Dolphins here today. That one again in the dirt, evens the count now at 2. The lineup for Caldwell today in Game 2, we have Christian Rinnick leading it off, batting first and at short, followed by Stephen Young Jr. He's out in right field, batting second. Batting third and playing left is Liam Lombardi. As that one again misses in the dirt, and now it's a full count right here for TJ Leno, the Dolphin third baseman. Batting fourth and at first is going to be Liam James. Followed by him is the second baseman Sean Brown. Followed by him will be the third baseman Devon Cass. Followed by him will be Jimmy Kurtz. Finish the lineup in just a moment now. The 3-2 Leno, and it misses on the outside for ball 4. So the Dolphins now have the tying run at first, and the go-ahead run the tying run at second, and the go-ahead run at first base. It brings up Chris Palomini.
And look who's up, man. Chris Palomini, he was the guy for CSI in Game 1, and got a little something cooking here. And like I said, you got to capitalize when you have the opportunities, and CSI definitely has one right now.
Liam James, the first baseman, creep it in as that one is hit towards short. Going to
Tough
be a
play.
tough play for a double play. They'll have to settle for the out at first, and they will hold both the runners at their respective bases. So Palomini doesn't get a hit there, John. Bud does the job as he puts both runners now into scoring position with just one away.
Exactly, and that's basically the same as a sacrifice bunt. I like CSI. They're aggressive right now, but they're also not getting outside of themselves. They're making sure that these pitches are over the plate, not out of the zone. And Palomini does his job, and Vigliotti here with a chance to do what he did in the first inning of the first game and get some runners on the board.
I've got to say, John, I'm looking at our laptop here with the camera view. This glare from the shadow that's coming from behind home plate, there's barely any sun left on the field.
How much that changed from the first game.
I know, right?
Towards the end of the first game, we were seeing
the
the
shadows
sun
will creep it in at the end.
Only really the batter's box was
Right.
covered with shadow, and the rest of the field was sun. Now even the outfielders are going to be swallowed up by shadow pretty soon.
As Vigliotti swings and misses, and that is a huge punch out right there for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, see, if you're Vigliotti, you got to put the ball in play. The strikeouts, especially with runners on base, less than 2 outs, that's the worst because that doesn't help anybody but the opposition. And now it's going to be up to 2 outs here for CSI to get this done.
It's going to be up to J.J. Hunter, the freshman, who's off to a nice start his early Dolphin career. And he's almost plunked by the pitch as just misses on the inside for a ball. Hunter on the year. This will be his 6th appearance, his 4th start. He's hitting .333 with still looking for his first RBI. He has a great chance right here as he fouls that one up behind the plate. Now going back to the Caldwell lineup, Jimmy Kurtz, as I mentioned, was batting 7th. He is the designated hitter. Batting 8th and behind the plate is the catcher, Akash Santiago. And then batting 9th and once again in center field is Christian Patino Jr. John, I think I speak for both of us. Hearing the last name Patino, the way what St. John's has been looking this week.
My Johnny's, baby.
Yeah.
St. John's alum? My God,
two St. John alumni here on the broadcast.
Oh, you're a Johnny alum?
I'm also a Johnny, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
First time in 40 years you get the Big East chip. Love the job Rick Pitino's doing as Hunter lifts one. That's a high pop-up.
In the shadow
back,
still.
And the play is made, and the Dolphins threaten, but do not score.
That was Riddick that made the catch out of left field, finding the shadow and finding a little bit of the sun, but he does retire the side. As Farigas, he gets out of that jam. Dolphins strand a couple of runners here in the bottom half of the first inning. We head to the top of the second. Caldwell leads this one, 1-0.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Sean Brown will lead it off here in the top of the second inning. Caldwell leads this game 1-0 after an RBI single from Liam Lombardi back in the top half of the first inning. Sean Brown takes an early first strike from Michael First here in the top of the second.
Same story as before. First, got to follow Aiden's role in game one. Got to make sure that you're attacking this zone. You want to give the hitters the impression that you are on your game and you're going to be everywhere near the zone throughout, so that way they might have to get a little bit aggressive and too over-aggressive even later on.
And I think the thing for how Keelty got through that entire game also, John, is, he gave up 5 walks and had 4 strikeouts, but the majority of his outs came in the field. And yes, obviously the one big error in center field was also a factor in that game, but he gave the Dolphins chances in that game to make those outs, and that was a big reason why he was able to succeed the way he did in that first start. So credit to him. A great outing from Kilty. And obviously, we would love to have gotten the victory for that game as well. And the Dolphins are hoping that in this game, Michael First can at least bounce back from that one-run spot in the top half of the first inning and keep this game within reach for CSI. As the countdown goes to full here on Sean Brown, 3-2.
Absolutely, and we talked about it before, but getting the first out is so important. It just gives you a lot of momentum, and obviously keeping the base runners off the paths is huge, but it's more about what you're doing mentally.
And he will get that first out as he does get the punch out on Sean Brown swinging for the first out of the inning. Devon Cass now with the batter here. One out here in the top of the second. Strike 0-1. You know, I mention this all the time when we go to these games here. Obviously, the weather is a little bit cold today, but still a fantastic view you're getting here at this facility watching these games. You peek over your shoulders. That's a little blooper over the mound. Going to be a tough play at second to throw to first. Scooped by Bartnick, and that one's in time for the second out of the inning. A nice play at second base by, I believe that was Rodriguez, and it was. Good play by Rodriguez at second for the second out.
See, that's why when you're a pitcher for College Staten Island, you know you got some defense behind you.
Yep.
So you don't have to be perfect out there. Just let them put the ball in play, and these fielders will make it happen.
Jimmy Kurtz now comes up with two away. And I think also, John, going back to that first game for the Dolphins, a lot of the scenarios where they got themselves into trouble was with two outs in that game. The Dolphins had a lot of situations where they got the second out and then had a couple walks given up. They would give up a base hit and keep the inning extended, and that would, prove dividend because of the extended pitch count for not only Kilty, but for the remaining relievers as well in that game.
I watch so much D1 college, and it's the same story.
One hit into left field. That's dropped in for a base hit, and it's a two-out single for Kurtz. But going back to your statement.
Well, I can't say, especially in the late innings, how many times I see two quick outs, and then something silly happens, like a walk or a hit by pitch, and there's one on, two outs, and the pitchers can't close it out. It is a very, very challenging part of the game, especially at this level. So that's why if you're able to do that and you're consistently able to give your team a chance to compete and win, that's what makes you be a good team.
Now let's skips in the dirt for a ball. Now, John, just for a moment, we're going to try to fix our camera angle. I think the camera's wobbling a bit, so you take the call for the time being.
Oh, Johnny V's on the call. Here we go. We got first. Little paint piece out there. I like the mix of pitches First is going. He's got a fastball that he's blowing by a lot of these hitters. And he's got that slider that's drawing a lot of swing and misses. Continues to pitch like this, he can go very deep into this ball game and give CSI some real innings with a chance to win this second game here. First checks the runner. And it's a half-hearted attempt. He's keeping an eye on the runner over there, but sometimes it's not just about keeping an eye on the runner. Sometimes these guys are just not ready to throw, maybe not confident in their pitch. Gives them an opportunity to recompose themselves. Here comes the pitch, and it's a paint piece for First. Strikeout to end the inning. Ryan First with a bounce-back frame. The Finns will be back in the box, and let's see if they can capitalize.
Yeah, Michael First does get that strikeout to retire the side as they strand the runner at first base. As we now head to the home half of the second inning, Dolphins trail this one, 1-0.
The Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, opus plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information.
Back here for the home half of the second inning. Dolphins trail this game 1-0. As Jack Kehoe will lead it off here in the home half of the second. You saw in the first game, John Kehoe was a very lively at bat for the Dolphins in that game. Had a sacrifice fly, scored a run as well, and had a nice couple plays in the right field as well. But the Dolphins would love to get him on base to start off this home half of the second, trailing by this one run.
There's a lot of new faces for the Dolphins in Game 2 here, but Jack Kehoe is a constant in this order. And there's a good reason for that. He's a good ball player. He knows how to get on base, and that is something that needs to be done in a spot where it doesn't look like with the weather there's going to be many, if any, home runs hit. So it's going to be some small ball and simple get on, get over, get in. And Kehoe's the guy to lead the charge here.
And it's good for the Dolphins because obviously, a freshman coming in, having to figure out how you follow your brother's footsteps. We talked about Michael Kehoe earlier, and he's been off to a great start this season, hitting 300 going into these two games. Had an RBI, as I mentioned, in Game 1. Made some nice plays as well, scored in a run as well. He's in the count here 2-2. But the Dolphins are looking for those consistent guys so far early in the season, and they're hoping Kehoe can keep that going as the season goes along, as he was down looking to start off this the second inning for the first out.
That's unfortunate. Leadoff strikeout. You know how I feel about strikeouts from an offensive perspective. They do not benefit you one way or the other, in any way whatsoever. And you got to put the ball in play. We've seen a lot of errors be made. You know what coaches told you growing up in Little League? If you put the ball in play, you better hustle, because on a ground ball, the fielder's got to field it cleanly, make a good throw, and the first baseman's got to catch it. So a lot of that can happen, and that's why if you are able to put the ball in play, that's why some of these crazy things end up going on throughout a game.
Spardnick now takes that one low for a ball 1-2. And we you always find a way, when we do these broadcasts, we always bring up these stories of, us in Little League, obviously the rest of these ball players, and how some of these games go along for them as Bardnick is down looking for a strike. So back-to-back punch-outs for Rigas on looking strikes for the first two outs of the inning, as it brings up Nico Rodriguez. Getting the start today at second base. I mentioned in Game 1, Rodriguez having one of the more memorable moments of CSI's last season, 2024 year. A walk-off RBI single against Holy Family. A 1-0 win for the Dolphins in that game. Scoring Michael Palermo in that game to give the Dolphins the victory. So he's in the count now 1-1. He gets a start today at second base.
Only 6 at-bats for Rodriguez on the year, so not a ton of experience for this season, this early campaign. But listen, this is a guy that just needs to stay within himself and honestly just not try to do too much.
He's now in a 2-2 count here, so for Rigas, he's now looking to strike out the side and retire the Dolphins 1-2-3 here in this home half of the second.
I like the way Rigas is working too. Very aggressive, pounding the zone. And honestly, Scalini was doing the same thing after that disaster of first inning. And look at him, 3 up, 3 down, a.k.a. Truman Show. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Absolutely. strikes out the side. A 1-2-3 inning for John Rigas here in the home of the second, recording all of his outs via the punch-out. We head now to the top of the third inning. Caldwell leads this one, 1-0.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Nine, 1-2 up here in the top of the third inning for Caldwell. They trailed, excuse me, I shouldn't say they trailed this game. They lead this game 1-0. The Dolphins trailed this game by a run. Christian Patino Jr. will lead it off here. The first pitch he sees from Michael First. This is on the outside for a ball, 1-0.
Just continue to attack that zone the way he has been. I like how he settled down last inning. Very strong after a rocky opening frame, but I think if he continues to pitch the way he has been, he's going to find a lot of success today.
Yeah, and the Dolphins really would obviously love to have that happen too, because we saw in the first game, the bullpen unfortunately did not work out for CSI in that matchup, and I'm curious to see what relievers are going to be available for this game. They're hoping Michael First can give them a good couple of innings so that they don't have to worry about the bullpen as much. But as I mentioned, they had that doubleheader yesterday against Chestnut Hill, and they're still recovering from the Myrtle Beach trip, albeit that was just a week ago, I think, at this point. But they're still recovering from that trip. They just came back from Chestnut Hill. And as I mentioned earlier in our first broadcast, they're going to be back here on Tuesday to take on Georgian Court. So they still have a lot more games this week, and they have to figure out exactly how to, manage that bullpen as the week goes along.
That's where a nice long outing comes into play. We thought we might get only 2 pitchers used in game 1.
It was heading that way.
It was heading that way, but ultimately it didn't happen. So if he's able to eat up at least 5 innings here, that would be big for the Dolphins for the rest of the week.
A huge swing and a miss from Patino Jr. Swings and misses for the first strike, or the first out of the inning. It's been a rough inning so far for me, John, saying numbers right now. Having a tough time so far.
What?
Just saying numbers.
Numbers?
Just numbers in general. I think for me, it's been an interesting week for me. Sunday, we were at Seton Hall for softball, called those 2 games. We had senior day yesterday at the Tank for both basketball teams, the women's and the men's team. And I was on stats for that game, so I saw a lot of numbers on Sunday, a lot more numbers yesterday, and then obviously a lot more numbers here today for these 2 games. But we've made it through the week, I would say, at least for myself. So I'm very, very grateful that we are able to get through these games. That one's drilled into right field, but it will go foul.
Tad early there. We've seen First really try to hammer home those fastballs, and he's been doing a really good job, but You saw Riddick was dead red all over it, just a little out front.
Yeah, you were mentioning you were looking for a home run in the first game of this doubleheader. I
If
think
there's a home run, I need to. I know you're doing play-by-play today, but promise me if there's a home run today, you'll let me do that call.
okay.
That's what I live for. Home runs.
If I think it's a home run, I will stop mid sentence. I'll give you the rest of the way.
Love it. I appreciate you, partner.
I got you. Anytime I can help. It's all about here on CSI Sports Status. That one's fouled behind the plate. Count remains 1-2. Back to the top of the lineup, as I mentioned, for the Cougars is Christian Rinnick at the plate here. And he started this game off in a very unconventional way. He got hit by the pitch on the first pitch of the game. Came around to score on the RBI from Lombardi. That's the lone run of this game so far. Already at the top of the third inning.
You've seen Rinnick really hunt this fastball. This is, I was going to say, it looks like first through another fastball, and we have an out here, punched out to left field is Rinnick. But I was going to say, in an event like that, every time the order flips, the batters have registered what they saw the AB before. So as a pitcher, it's your job to make sure you're not repeating tendencies. You have to mix things up. So you saw Rinnick there really drilling home on the fastball. And first was having a lot of success the first time through the order. But in an event like that, he's got to start leaning a little bit more on the off speed and pulling the string.
And now I'm also looking towards the field, John. And now there's only one spot in the field where there is sunlight. And that is exactly where Chris Palomini is currently standing out in center field.
Hopefully Chris Palomini bought his olive oil, get a little tan on here. He's been
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
in the sun all day.
Hopefully he was wearing something to keep him warm with the way these games have gone. A very cold game number one. And as the day progresses here for game number two, already being 5 p.m. here on the East Coast, it's going to get a bit colder as this night progresses.
Not a fan of the cold.
Nope, not me either. Right with you on that one. That one just misses on the outside, 2-1. But I think the other thing, John, for us is that we kind of had it somewhat not bad in game one. So here in the press box here at SIUH Community Park, the press box is very warm for us here in the commentators room. Next door, where the scoreboard is, our stats, our PA announcer, it is kind of cold in there. So we're kind of reaping the benefits of at least being in a warmer room than they currently are to our right.
Oh, yeah, we got some good digs here, baby. I like this. You got the view here. I'm mesmerized. I'm looking at the water. I'm looking at the city.
Yeah, you can't be one of the better views you'll have either, professional baseball, minor league baseball, collegiate level, whatever it is. Has to be one of the best views you could possibly get. You get the New York skyline behind you. You might be able to see the Statue of Liberty if you enhance the screen if you're watching on your television or maybe even on your phone. But
I see it.
Regardless, you get a great view of this entire stadium as well as the New York City skyline. It's a great time to be out here as that pitch misses on the inside for ball four. And as I mentioned earlier, the Dolphins had that issue in game one with 2 out walks. One issued right there to Stephen Young Jr., and that brings up Lombardi.
Well, I was going to say, I do see Lady Liberty there.
Yep.
Fantastic. But you know the thing I hate the most, and that's 2 out walks. That is a buzzkill. First needs to not let this get out of hand because, as we've seen today, those can spiral. And once things start snowballing, as it just did, as a pitch gets away here, taking second base, look at that. You give a free 90 to get on first base, and you just give another free 90, and all of a sudden, with 2 outs, you have a runner in scoring position for Caldwell, and now you have to focus extra hard if you're first.
Young Jr. came around to score the first time Lombardi batted it his way. Now has a chance to do it once again here. With still 2 outs in the inning. The count 1-0. I'll take that one for a strike now, 1-1.
See, I like the way first mixed it up there. He threw the off speed, threw the breaking ball. It looked to be the slider from up here on the outer edge. Kind of mixing up with his timing, playing with the planes and playing with the speeds and the spins.
Almost on the outside, 2-1. I think that last pitch got away from him. Looking towards second base, and Stephen Young kind of giving you a little bit of a leeway, faking out the runner, maybe trying to steal third base. But
yeah, he's getting a little antsy over there. We saw College Staten Island late in game one execute a pickoff attempt that was unsuccessful, but could have been.
Long run for Palomini. He will make the catch out in left center field and retire the side. We're now headed into the bottom of the third. Dolphins looking for their first run of this second game of our doubleheader coverage here on the ECC Network. Caldwell leads this one, 1-0.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Anthony Satara up to lead off the bottom of the third inning for the Dolphins, currently in the midst of a 1-1 count, as the Dolphins show this game 1-0. Still in search of that first run of this game. They have the lone one hit. Caldwell with 2 hits so far. This is in the dirt for a ball, 2-1 to count. Satara getting the start today at shortstop, starting at third base in the first game of today's doubleheader. The Dolphins will have 9-1-2 up in the inning. He rips this one into right field, but it will be caught out in right field by Young Jr.
Satara put good wood on it there. That's the luck of the draw sometimes in baseball. A ball that should be a base hit gets caught, but one that should not be a hit, you end up getting one out of it. So the law of averages evens out, but Satara, you put a lot of swings like that on, and he'll be okay.
Yeah, that goes under the glove of Young Jr. That's going to be extra bases for Satara right there. So a nice catch out in right field by Stephen Young Jr. to get the first out of this third inning.
Definitely risky. Definitely risky.
The count goes to 1-0 here for the Dolphin left fielder, Christopher Riley. He hits this one to left field, John, but just not enough.
You know what?
I wanted to stop myself just in case.
I appreciate it. I saw you doing that. I saw the way. I saw the way that ball was traveling.
Just a bit under it.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, the break that Lombardi was making, it looked like he had a play on it, so I did not think that was going. And that was still short of the wall by at least 35 feet. But
I looked initially off the bat, it might have had a chance, but I think as we mentioned in Game 1, the wind has been pulling to right field the majority of the day.
Definitely.
And that's probably the reason. It could have been one of the reasons why that ball maybe kind of died down a little bit towards the end, because I thought off the bat,
it looked like it.
It thought at least it might have been an extra base hit.
I mean, though, that wind, we're watching that flagpole blow out in right center field. It is aggressive towards right field, so it definitely died out there. Otherwise, that could have been flirting with a tater territory. But
yeah, our viewers at home could see it for the American flag that's is in right field. It is blowing heavily right now. The way this game has gone, as Leno hits this one foul and out of play, and the count now evens at 2.
I got to say, though, Riley has impressed me a lot. First 2 at-bats, he smokes one into the power alley for a leadoff double, and he puts bat on ball. That was a barrel, but the wind is not forgiving today if you're hitting the ball to left or center.
Yeah, we mentioned Christopher Riley, another one of those returning Dolphins this season, trying to get a lot more at-bats for him this upcoming season, and he's made some pretty good impressions so far in this game with his first 2 swings. As the count now is full here for Leno. And that one just misses on the outside for ball 4.
If I'm CSI, I'm definitely getting Riley in the lineup more. 2 at-bats, very impressive. 2 barrels. I'm looking forward to the rest of his at-bats today.
Now it brings up Chris Palomini now with 2 away. Dolphins getting a chance here. Leno at first. Palomini is able to get something into the gap. We'll give the Dolphins a chance to tie this game.
You've seen the Dolphins barrel up 2 balls this inning. It's just unlucky to no avail, but they're right at fielders. And I think as the lineup flips the second time, which it has, and the third time, we're going to be able to see CSI continue their approach against this Cougars pitching staff, because right now they're looking really confident at the plate. It's just unfortunate that it's not falling for them.
Riley fouls that one off behind the plate, now down the count 0-2.
If there's anybody that's going to make something happen right here, it's Chris Palomini. He's up right now. And we see center field and right field are pretty close together. Center field shaded more towards right center, leaving a left center gap wide open. You could park a Boeing 747 in it.
I have a moment from Chris from last season as this bat continues. Chris and his brother obviously honoring their late father on Heroes Day last year at CSI. Probably one of the more memorable moments that we had all year last year. Both him and his brother. And his brother was a pitcher. His first at bat, he had a home run in the same game. You don't see that very often from 2 brothers, but to think that a pitcher could do that, first pitch swinging nonetheless, John, as well. I was on the call for that game. Was very honored to be on the call for that game. And certainly a moment the Dolphins have looked back, will look on for years and years to come, and they're hopefully looking to bring more moments here this upcoming season.
Oh, that's fantastic, dude. And it's great to be a part of such a moment like that. It's so special.
Yep.
And, the Palomini brothers and Chris Palomini he's an awesome baseball player, and I've really enjoyed watching him since I started doing the calls last year. And we see so many spectacular plays from him, and I'm happy to be back on the call here, watching him and calling him.
Another 2-2 for Palomini. Hits that one into right field. Long run for Young Jr. He runs out of room, and it just went foul. A huge break for Caldwell, as that would have been extra bases for the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's at least a double and a run on the board. We've seen the outfield shade over with the wind, and Young was playing relatively close to that line. Otherwise, if it was normal depth, that looked like it could have really been trouble. But unfortunately, Palomini just pokes that one to the right of the line. That was probably less than a foot off the chalk.
Very, very close. He was mere inches away from tying this game for the Dolphins and getting into scoring position for A.J. Vigliotti on deck. So the count remains still 2-2 with 2 away here at the bottom of the third. The Dolphins have a runner on first. Palomini at the plate has now worked the count full. So Leno at first base is going to get himself an opportunity to get a head start. And if Palomini is able to get something for a base hit, might be able to potentially tie this game. There goes Leno. Palomini hits this one to left. It is shallow. Lombardi playing towards the left field wall, and he makes the catch to retire the side. The Dolphins stranding a runner here in the home half of the third inning. We now head to the top of the fourth. Caldwell still leads this one, 1-0.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, got 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Liam James will lead it off here in the top of the fourth inning. Caldwell leads this game 1-0. Through the first 3 innings, it has been a pitcher's duel between Michael First and John Regas. As these two teams looking for the Dolphins, looking to split this doubleheader. For Caldwell, looking to start off the young year 2-0. As Liam James hits this one towards second, Rodriguez is there, loses the hat in the progress, and the Dolphins are not able to make the play.
Yeah, that just a little bit of a short hop there. A short arm. That's a routine ground ball. That's a good way to start out the inning. It's a routine ground out, but
yeah.
You got to make that play.
I'm trying to think. I think that's going to go down as an E4.
That should. That was.
I think it was a low throw. Barnick did try to scoop it up at first base, but I think the throw itself makes it the error on the second baseman. So that will go down as an E4 for the Dolphins. First of the game for CSI. They had 2 errors in the last game, as there's a bunch shown by Sean Brown. That one goes foul 0-1.
That's a big difference because now First has to worry about a runner on base. He's got to pitch out of the stretch. And you have something that can take your full undivided attention away from the hitter. And somebody like Sean Brown, who is capable of doing some damage, but it looks like he is going to try and get that bunt down.
That time he swung away, and he swings and misses for a strike now. 0-2 the count. So First, if he's able to get a strikeout right here, get that first out of the inning.
Well,
it would definitely be a good bounce back after that leadoff error.
The shining silver lining, I should say, is if you can get this strikeout here, then you got 6, 7, 8 to try and wiggle out of it before flipping the lineup over.
That one hits off of the glove of Hunter, and that will be a pass ball and allow the runner now to go to second base. So just like that, John, an error and a pass ball have now put a runner into scoring position to start off this inning for the Cougars.
How many times have we seen that today? A handful.
Unfortunately, a couple times.
It's a free 90 feet and another free 90 feet. And it's all self-inflicted. That is an unforced mental mistake on both accounts here. And if you're First, you really got to lock in because
that one in on the hands of Brown. He was somehow able to make contact with that. I'm not sure how he did make contact with that. He hit that one foul towards the first base dugout. But I think that also, going back to that point also, John, is the Dolphins this season, unfortunately, the biggest thing that has been plaguing them, and I think I mentioned this in Game 1 too, is they've had these 1 or 2 innings where things kind of unravel, and that's where they lose these games. But at the other side of it also, those defensive errors that you mentioned have also been plaguing them, and they happen on those 1 to 2 innings. And that's been a big reason why the Dolphins are off to this slow start this season. And that's why, you come back into these games, your first official, quote-unquote, home games of the year, and you're hoping that maybe the Myrtle Beach trip and, being in Pennsylvania yesterday, maybe that is a reason maybe why you were playing like that, and you're hoping that you fix those mistakes while you're back in front of your home crowd.
It's just because it's mental mistakes, that's the kind of thing that's, I wouldn't say concerning, but that's more deflating and more demoralizing. And the fact is, you have a team that's shown how scrappy they are in Caldwell, and when you give them these freebies, they're going to take it.
As that one just missed on the outside for ball 4. Dolphins wanted that strike 3 call on Brown, but he's on first base with a walk. As for Caldwell now, they have first and second, still nobody out. Devon Cass now at the plate, and I would expect right here, John, a bunt is probably going to happen in this spot to move the runners into scoring position.
Definitely possible here. You see the third base creeping up over there. So
both corner infielders are moving in.
Yeah, and we're getting middle infielders that are a little bit more at normal depth.
They're playing towards the double play ball. That one popped up on the bunt attempt, and Barning's going to be able to make the catch.
Oh, that's such a big out there. And I feel like I've been repeating a lot of the same stuff today, but it's because it all comes back into play. You're Caldwell, you have first and second, one out. You can't get the sacrifice bunt down. Those are basic fundamentals of baseball. And when you don't execute those, it's just such a gut punch. But if you're CSI, that's huge. Now you have 2 outs, and you don't have to worry about anything else going.
1 out.
Oh, sorry, 1 out. Sorry, it's 1 out.
I was trying to say it off mic potentially. I forgot if it was still on the air, but that one was hit into right center field. That's going to take a 1 bounce off the wall. Kurtz will bring home 1 run. He potentially will bring home 2 runs. He will bring home both. Ball is still rolling towards the middle of the field. Kurtz is going to be in there with a 2-run triple, and just like that, Caldwell takes a 3-0 lead.
That was a tank. That just missed a home run. Oh.
Very close.
Very close. I mean, that ball was pulverized. And this is a big ballpark win. This is no small ballpark. And you could just see that one had a real shot to get out of there. Just a little bit short, but what a knock.
This is on the outside for ball 1-0. Akash Santiago, the batter here. Great chance for him. Dolphins have the entire infield in, trying to prevent another run from scoring. Trailing this game 3-0 now after the last 2-run hit. A blooper into right center. That's going to be trouble. That will be caught by Kehoe, but it will allow the runner to score from third. A sacrifice fly for Santiago now gives Caldwell a 4-0 lead.
This is a big-time inning for Caldwell, but it all started with the freebies, the mistakes, the mental errors. And the thing about Caldwell today, they've been able to not only get those kind of things to happen for them, but they've been able to capitalize. It's been a contrast between CSI and Caldwell today. When CSI's gotten those opportunities, they have not been able to punch through. But you see Caldwell gets 2 runners on free 90 feet, free 180 feet, and then an absolute blast to bring home 2 runs, and now a sacrifice fly, and Caldwell's taking a commanding 4-0 lead.
So an early 4-run deficit for the Dolphins in this game. Now have to work their way back into this game to get the victory. We saw it in yesterday's doubleheader. They came back from a deficit against Chestnut Hill Game 1, were able to win that game. Game 2, they were at a bit of a deficit as well as the game went on. Able to work their way back into it towards the end, but just fell short of a great come from behind victory. Now they'll have to try to come from behind in this game here today. This count goes to 1-1 here. The batter being Christian Patino Jr., the number 9 hitter in the Cougar lineup.
Yeah, first has got to be able to get this guy out because you don't want the lineup to flip again.
Especially, John, in the spot where you hate the most. 2 outs already in the inning. Don't want to walk him here, especially now with a 2-strike count.
Oh, man, I hate it. I really hate it. So hopefully first can make the pitch and get out of this inning.
Heads up.
Whoa, that was smoked behind.
That is a great
press box glass.
That is a great thing. Now, 2 things for that. One, good thing for us, we were here on the left side of the press box. For the second point, the window was closed towards where the stats, PA, and scoreboard are. So thankfully, both of those things happened.
I'm just going to say, I would have caught that. I would have caught that. Yep, I would have caught that.
John, I'm gonna love with you. I've seen a foul ball hit off of Foreman's rib cage. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something. So when I went to a Met game one time, and I got there early for BP, and I was in left center field. I had no glove. BP, I don't know who it was. I think they were playing maybe the Nationals or the Marlins. Somebody hit a missile right at me, no glove, and I caught it barehanded.
Wow.
Yeah, so you know what? I am an athlete. I don't want to hear it.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that's a tough play. As the Patino Jr.
My hand was stinging for a couple days.
I'm sure it was, but lost in the midst of that, John. The one thing you hated, it just happened. Patino Jr. worked himself a 2-out walk, working himself back into that count, and it's right now back to the top of the line for Christian Riddick.
I'm going to set up a GoFundMe. Every time there's a 2-out walk, it's going to be $5 should be donated, and we will send that to
I was to say, who you going to donate?
Your favorite cause out there, whatever it is. I think we should start a GoFundMe. It doesn't matter if it's for or against CSI. Whenever there is a 2-out walk or hit by pitch or an error, a free pass of any kind, donate.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can comment on it, but I'll just say okay about it.
Are you in agreement?
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not entirely sure. I think you could find a positive spin on it. Maybe use it for, as you mentioned in our first game, maybe NIL money. Use it for a good cause like a charity. You never know.
Yeah, I'm saying any cause, any charity, any cause.
Could be whatever you think. First, still looking to get that final out of the inning now after that 2-out walk. Is now down the count here 2-0. Now make it 3-0. He's in danger of walking back-to-back batters with 2 outs. And keeping the inning going.
Yeah, First has really got to dial it in here. He's just gotten a little bit erratic here. He was commanding his fastball pretty well and was mixing in the off speed at the right time. But now that he's lost command of that fastball, he's all over the zone, and Caldwell doesn't really have to swing the bat.
That one in there for a strike. I think the thing also is, he's given up 3 runs in the inning, the brunt of it being a 2-run triple off the bat of Jimmy Kurtz. But I think the problem for him in this inning is that fastball was touched upon on that base hit from Kurtz. So now he might have lost a little bit of confidence in that fastball. As there goes the runner, and there will be no throw as the walk was issued to Rinnick. So Patino Jr. is into second regardless. And it's another 2-out walk issued by First. Stephen Young Jr. now comes up with a chance to bring home another run.
See what happened with that original 2-out walk? You walked the 9-hitter. And then you flip the lineup. And then he walked the leadoff hitter. Now you got Young up, and there is an opportunity for Caldwell to keep adding on.
Count now is 2-1 here for Stephen Young Jr. As I mentioned, trying to bring home another run here for Caldwell. An already three-run inning here for them here in the top of the 4th. Dolphins already in a 4-run deficit. They're in danger of making this even further. They cannot get out of this inning. Young Jr. will hit that one into right. Long run for Keogh. Will it stay fair? It will not. Foul ball. But again, right there, John.
That was very close.
Very close to a home run.
That was and that I think that might have had the distance.
You know what is crazy about that hit? Off the bat, you would not. I didn't think originally maybe that had the distance to go that far.
No,
but again, we keep mentioning it. The wind has been a huge factor for some of these hit balls today in right field. That ball kept carrying towards that right field corner, and for a couple more inches, that would have hit off the foul pole in right field for a home run.
It's a shame CSI doesn't have more left-handed hitters because they could definitely be taking advantage of it today. It is a ferocious wind out there. If you're looking at that flagpole in right center field, that is no small wind.
And now, how about this scenario, John? Full count, 3-2. 2 outs. Runners will go on this next pitch. First in danger of walking his 3rd straight batter and loading the bases here.
With disaster looming, Nick, first has got to bear down here. This is a big pitch because 4-0 is still manageable, but if you start allowing more, then it's problems.
That's a foul ball behind the plate and over our heads here at the press box, and that will be out of the stadium.
That would have been another play I made, by the way. That was a nice pop up.
That was a little bit of, yeah. That one I'll give you that one. That was a pop. That was a little bit of a pop up.
Yeah, the other one was a seed.
That was a line drive.
That was a can of corn.
I don't know if anyone would have had the exact reaction time to make a play on that play. I certainly of the testament that I would never have been able to make that play quickly.
I always think it's possible for me to do anything.
Another 3-2 fouled off. I will say, I when they were the Stalin Yankees, I did catch a foul ball with a program. Very weird way of catching a foul ball, but I was a young kid, didn't want to use it with my bare hands, didn't have a hat or a glove, so I had the one thing my program. I just opened up a couple pages, somehow caught the ball, and I was like, okay, I have a foul ball now. Nice.
Speaking of foul balls, if you catch a foul ball here, can you keep it, or do you have to return it?
I'm pretty sure you have to return it.
What if you just ran out of the
Well,
stadium?
do you mean for now or like back then? There's another walk.
That's ball 4.
That will load the bases.
Oh, no. Bases loaded now. Three walks on
3 straight walks for first after getting that second out of the inning. So after getting the sacrifice fly for the second out, first has now walked 3 in a row. The number 9, the number 1, and the number 2 hitters. And Liam Lombardi, who all the way back in the first inning, got the first run of this game. We'll have to see if the Dolphins make a pitching change here. There wasn't anybody warming up, so if they were to make a pitching change, it would be someone that has not thrown and warmed up in relief. I would think it's probably not. But they need a confidence boost to get from Michael First right now because, as you mentioned, John, it's a 4-run deficit. It is still very manageable here in this 4th inning. But if Lombardi is able to get into something here in this next at-bat, that will open up the gates for Caldwell, and it'll be really, really tough for the Dolphins to get back into this game.
We've talked about it. It's the 2-out walk. It seems insignificant, but those things can spiral and snowball very quickly, and we're on the precipice here for the Dolphins, who are now faced with 2 outs, bases loaded, all off walks, facing the Caldwell Cougars' most dangerous hitter, Louis Lombardi.
Liam Lombardi with a chance right here. Base hit. Can open this game up for Caldwell. Hits that one to second. Diving stop by Rodriguez. He goes to second. He got the out.
Oh, wow.
What a play by Rodriguez. He just saved a run, maybe 2, from scoring. And also, John, a heads-up play to go the short way to get that final out of the inning.
Amazing play by Rodriguez. That was so clutch. That not only saved a run, maybe 2, but that kept CSI in the game, and perhaps First is able to go back out there for another inning. Just fantastic clutch play from Rodriguez.
A must-needed out from CSI. A great play by the Dolphins second baseman. Keeps them within reach as we now head into the bottom of the 4th. Caldwell does score 3 in the inning as they share the bases loaded. They now lead this one 4-0.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
A.J. Vigliotti will lead it off here in the home half of the fourth inning, and now 4-run lead for Caldwell after a 3 spot in the top half of the fourth. The Dolphins now will need to start chipping themselves away into this game. 7-inning contest here for this second game of this doubleheader. So the Dolphins are down to a few outs just left. Still some time to get back into this one. But, John, they only have the one hit to show for it so far. They need to get on the base path.
I mean, after Riley's leadoff double, they don't have anything.
Yeah, they've been retired straight.
They have a few hard hit balls, but that doesn't go down in the stat sheet. I mean, that's more for a confidence booster and something throughout the season that's going to eventually go your way with the law of averages. But College Staten Island offense, I'm a little bit surprised. They started out hot in the last game, but their slump and their inability to execute and drive in runs or even get on base towards the end of last game is kind of carried over into this one. They're sleepwalking out there a little bit. I think they need to go back to the basic fundamentals, make Regas work, make him throw extra pitches, extend those at-bats, and just get on base any way you can.
3-1 count here for Vigliotti, leading it off for the Dolphins, as now the count goes full 3-2. Dolphins do have some action up in their bullpen as well, so we'll see if they make a pitching change in the next half inning. I think we estimated that Michael First is around early high 70s, maybe even 80 pitches. Unofficial pitch count we have up here in the press box. As Vigliotti does work the leadoff walk. And I think also, for the Dolphins in that last game, John, they had a lot of at-bats where they were able to get a runner on, and then they got into a double play scenario. 3 times in that last game, they grounded into a double play.
Yeah, these double plays are just killers for them. As that's a wild pitch. Regas allows Vigliotti to go to second base. How does it feel, Caldwell? Shoes on the other foot. A.J. Vigliotti in scoring position, my friend.
It does, yeah. Vigliotti now in the scoring position. So for Hunter right here, a base hit could potentially bring home that first run of the game for the Dolphins. So Dolphins looking for their first break of this game. It's been a rough start for the Dolphins in this one, but still some time to play. And Hunter right here, the Dolphin catcher, can potentially chip into that deficit with a base knock right here. Here comes the 1-0. Misses high and inside for a ball, 2-0 the count.
It's still the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, there's still some time.
It's early in the bottom of the fourth. There's 3 at-bats after this for College Staten Island, right? So a 4-0 deficit is still not insurmountable. You start chipping away. You don't try to get it all back with one swing. And there's a base hit. A.J. Vigliotti will stop at third, but now CSI, we're talking about it. They are in business. Runners on the corners, nobody out. And let's see if they could break through.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting right there from J.J. Hunter, hitting that one through the left side, past the diving third baseman and shortstop. Now, as you mentioned, puts the runners on the corners for the Dolphins in this spot. Jack Keogh comes to the plate. And we're looking to see exactly. Right now, the defensive alignment is where I'm curious to see how Caldwell sets this one up. Obviously, they would be content with giving up the run and getting the double play ball to end the inning. They are playing towards double play territory. So that one just missed on the outside for a ball 1-0. And here's the good thing for the Dolphins, John. If Keogh was able to get on, he would bring the tying run to the plate. So the Dolphins have a chance right here, if he is able to get on, to potentially with one swing tie this ball game up as they chuck the runner at first. Back in safely was Hunter. On deck for the Dolphins is Bartnick.
For the Dolphins, the main concern, just continue to move the line. And you see Vigliotti over at third, itching to get home. He's ready, man. He wants to touch home plate. But, CSI, I like the way they've started out this inning. They're not trying to do too much. They're playing simple, fundamental baseball. And as long as they continue to do that, they're going to have a good chance to bring home multiple runs this inning.
That one fouled off toward the Dolphin dugout and out of play. So now it goes to 1-2. But they're kind of doing what you were mentioning earlier in the inning. The Dolphins are taking a little bit more pitches in this inning. Have been working the count. It led to Vigliotti getting on base. It was able to allow the base hit for Hunter. And now a chance here for Keogh. He's down the count 1-2. But if he's able to work the count still here with this 2-strike at bat.
There's a big gap between short and third, that 5-6 hole.
As that one misses high, the count evens to 2.
And you see now this inning, unlike any of the other innings prior, Regis is kind of thrown out of his groove. CSI has done a great job of making Regis work. He's having to overexert himself a little bit. These are becoming high-stress pitches, and CSI, if they can continue to do that and keep working these counts, then they're going to be able to break through pretty soon.
Another 2-2 now here from Rigas. That one chopped to first. No play for a double play, so James will have to step on the bag for the first out. Scoring is Vigliotti on the fielder's choice. And advancing to second base is Hunter. As the Dolphins get on the board, they now trail this game 4-1.
And look at that. Beautiful. 2-strike count. Didn't try to do too much. Put the ball in play. Ground ball to first base. Guess what? They score a run. Now it's a 3-run game. And they still have a man on second base.
Now brings up Chris Bardnick here. Runner still in scoring position for the Dolphins. Now one away in the inning. Hunter, the runner at second. That breaking ball missed on the inside for a ball 1-0. Got past the pitcher, but no chance that the runner at second, Hunter, was going to be going on that play. On deck for the Dolphins is Rodriguez. So if Bardnick is able to get on, the Dolphins do bring home the tying, or I should say bring the tying run to the plate. Dolphins look for a huge hit right here for Bardnick to get back into this game. So that one misses low for ball 2. The count goes to 2-0.
You're seeing Regis work a lot, not just away from the plate, to the right-handed hitters especially, but he's trying to go back to that slider away a lot this inning since he's gotten into trouble.
That one fouled and out of play. Count now goes 2-1. The lights starting to come on here at the facility. Nighttime is approaching here in the East Coast.
I've taken my sunglasses off for anybody. That was a big move for me.
Was very sunny throughout the majority of this day, but now the nighttime has come here in Staten Island. As now the count goes to 3-1. So Bardnick now is a pitch away from working a walk, giving Rodriguez a chance to get on base. Here comes the 3-1 for Rigas. And it misses for ball 4. So just like that, the Dolphins now bring the tying run to the plate in Rodriguez.
CSI giving Caldwell a taste of their own medicine.
Now the other thing is here, John, we're going to see a pitcher mound visit as well for Caldwell. But the question is going to be for the Dolphins in this spot, and I don't think they would. Rodriguez is not necessarily known for being a power hitter. Would they try maybe trying to sneak away a base hit maybe with the bunt? I know it's risky because you're down 3. There's 1 out in the inning already. Would you maybe see that happen in this spot? Try to maybe advance the runners, maybe try to sneak out a base hit on the infield and load the bases for Sotero, who's on deck.
All right, so here's the thing, right? I wouldn't want to give away an out to Caldwell when they're on the back foot. They're on the ropes right now, and if you try to get a bunt down,
it would have to be down the third base line.
Yeah, well, he's playing pretty far back over there, but that is very, very risky. And he looks ready to pounce if there's a bunt. I think I'm swinging away, though. I don't think I'm laying down a bunt.
I agree with you.
Especially now, if anybody watching at home, you could see Regis has kind of lost the handle a little bit. He's been unable to locate. He's been missing with that breaking ball. That fastball's been getting away from him. So let him drown himself.
This is on the outside, quickly 2-0. And we saw in the last game, the bottom of the order for Caldwell was able to work some walks and get back to the top of the lineup. Now here in this inning, and in this game, the Dolphins' bottom of the order has been able to get on base. Rodriguez is up 2-0. After him, it's the number 9 hitter, Sotero, and then it's back to the top of the lineup for the Dolphins. And it's now 3-0.
That's what I'm saying. He's lost the handle, and you got Caldwell's bullpen working quick. Because
they are starting to warm up some pitchers.
If Regis walks Rodriguez, I wonder who we might see in next. I don't know if they're going to stick with Regis.
I would assume they would stay with him.
You don't think they would pull the switch?
I don't think they will. Not yet. Rodriguez did show bunt, but there was no way he was going to bunt. The count now goes 3-1. I think it's just because it's still a little bit early, and I think because you have the number 9 hitter on deck as well, you want to see him try to finish this inning off and keep this lead within reach for your team. So I think he'll at least face the next 2 see where you're going at the next time in the order because you're going to be going back to the top of the line for the third time around. So that's where you maybe make that question of, do they make the pitching change that time and that time? And Rodriguez will work the walk. So another walk drawn by the Dolphins in the inning, and they have now loaded the bases. Anthony Sotera comes up with a monster opportunity for the Dolphins. The go-ahead run at the plate. Bases loaded, still one out. A 3-run lead now for Caldwell. Sotera is able to get something into the gap. He will knot this game up at 4. He took a big swing and a miss a little bit early on that first pitch, strike, and the count's 0-1.
If I'm Sotera, though, he's got a groove one. Unless it's 2 strikes and you got to protect, I'm not giving him any extra pitches, man, because we've seen Rigas be all over the place this inning, and I think I'd be sitting back a little bit more and be more patient. If it gets to 2 strikes, unless he grooves one, I think I'm hanging back.
Nice off-speed pitch right there from Rigas. That makes the count 1-2. A strike away from a huge out number 2. And obviously for Rigas in this inning, a double play can also get him out of the jam. So that one skips in the dirt for a ball. Count evens at 2. I mentioned the Dolphins are back to the top of the lineup on deck is Christopher Riley. So Sotera would love to get on base, get the top of the order a chance.
Riley with the bases loaded. That could feed families.
The 2-2. Skips in the dirt. No runners will move. And the count now goes full at 3-2.
Come on, Rigas, do the right thing. Let's see you walk. Sotera here.
These Caldwell viewers are not going to like what you're saying here, John.
Hey, listen, I am from North Jersey. I grew up
That's
5
fair.
minutes away from Caldwell.
That's fair.
Come on, everybody wants to see Riley with the bases loaded.
The 3-2. It's Sotera chased it on the outside for strike 3. A huge out number 2 for Rigas and Caldwell.
He extended the strike zone a little bit. Sotera, I know he was trying to protect, but that was a little bit off the plate. That was ball 4 most likely.
A huge strikeout gets the second out of the inning, and now it's up to Christopher Riley. He's had 2 good swings in this game. Would love a third one as that one goes out of play. Count goes 0-1. He started this game off with a double. His second time up to the plate, initially off the bat, it looked like maybe he was going to give that ball a carry. But it just kind of died in shallow left field. He would love an extra base hit right here to potentially tie this game.
I think if you're Riley, you go right back to where you did in the first at bat. Look at where the outfield is shaded. You have center and right, both right of the logo, as you can see on the screen. You see that alley opened. I mentioned before, you can have a Boeing 747 sit there. You can have it land there right now where it's at. Riley puts it out there. Bases are clearing, and he might get it inside the Parker.
How about that for a potential first home run call for you if that was to be the case?
Yeah, that'd be fine. It's still the same thing.
Oh, how about that play right there down the third base line at foul? The count now even at 2. But you mentioned it. Riley had that first hit for the Dolphins. That one was a double in the left center field. And that's where the gap is right now in the outfield for Caldwell. They're leaving left center field wide open. If Riley is able to punch it out there, like you mentioned, the Dolphins will certainly clear the bases, and Riley will have himself at least a double, maybe even a triple, if he's able to get that opportunity. Here comes the 2-2. Chop down the third baseline will be a tough play. Riley chugging to first base. He's safe. And the Dolphins will get another run. That will go down as an infield RBI single for Riley, and the Dolphins now cut the deficit to 2 runs, 4-2 Caldwell.
Look at that. Riley pulverizes a line drive, first AB. He has a seed in his second at-bat that's caught and dies because of the wind. And in his third at-bat, he hits a little dribbler down in the third base line and shows us those wheels. Brings home a run, extends the inning. Riley having himself a fantastic second game here against the Cougars.
Devon Cass tried his best to make that play at third base, but it's just a slow dribbler down that third base line. And there was no chance he was going to be able to get Riley at first. And a credit to Liam James, the first baseman. He had to come off the bat to catch the ball. If that ball gets away from him, the Dolphins will tie the game right there.
I mentioned Riley, bases loaded, would feed families. What do you think Chris Palomeni bases loaded would do?
Well, the Dolphins still have one more batter to get to before they get to Palomini. That's TJ Leno at the plate. But they would certainly love to get Palomini and maybe even Vigliotti some chances in this inning. Vigliotti, remember, started this inning for the Dolphins with that leadoff walk.
You see Caldwell batting around. CSI is like, okay.
They're very close to doing so. The 2 batters away from doing that, but to get there, they would love to tie this game. That one chopped down the first base. James is going to be able to step on the bag and retire the side. So Caldwell is able to escape the damage with just allowing the 2 runs. As they now will head into the top of the 5th. Their now lead is 4-2.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
Back for the top of the 5th inning here at SIUH Community Park. A now 4-2 lead for Caldwell as the Dolphins chip away into this 4-run deficit they had earlier. They now trail by 2 heading into the top of the 5th inning. And John, as I mentioned during the commercial break, you see that ship passing us and left, going a little bit towards left field. Is about to get off of our camera view. But maybe that was the ship that you were talking about that you want to park in left center.
Yeah, I think we would have a real shot for that to fit the way Caldwell's outfield was positioned. Unfortunately, couldn't take advantage of it, but CSI able to scrape 2 across, and this is what we're talking about. You don't have to get it all back in one inning. A lot of time left in this game. It was a 4-0 deficit coming in. All of a sudden, it's 4-2. 2 runs, no big deal. Still very much in this game.
Dolphins have 9 outs to play with, but they need to first focus on keeping this game a 2-run contest. That one grounded to short. Tatera will throw it onto Bartnick in time, and that will be the first out of the inning. So just like that, John, takes 2 pitches for first to get this first out of the inning.
And you know what, Nick? One thing, in my opinion, that is the most important thing, especially in college, when you throw up a score, you got to immediately follow it back up with a goose when you take the mound. It's so important because it keeps that momentum going as well as keeping the score where it is with a tight deficit.
And I think the good thing for first, that one misses for a ball. The good thing for him is that was a very long last inning in the 4th. He gave up 3 runs, had 3 straight 2-out walks, was able to get himself out of the inning, but then had a little bit of a rest on the bench because the Dolphins were able to get 2 runs in that inning, almost came around to bat around in that inning as well. So first had a little bit of time to calm down, think to himself and recollect, and now come back into this inning, try to keep this game a 2-run deficit.
Absolutely. And first, if he's already got a quick out to start the inning. So if he can continue to just pound the zone, don't let these walks get out of control, I think we might be able to see him go at least through 5 innings here.
After this next at bat, I will give an update towards softball as the count goes to 2-2. Softball playing the second of their games to start off their spring games trip down in Florida. They took game 1 of their doubleheader 4-3. They currently lead 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th in game 2. The CSI softball team looking to start the year off 4-0. As that one's ripped into right field, and that one dropped in for a base hit. No chance for Keogh out in right field as Sean Brown is on with a 1-out single.
Sean Brown's had a nice day today, huh?
He certainly has. He's been a nice contributor to this Caldwell offense in these two games. And I think that's what Caldwell's hoping for. Last year was a rough year for Caldwell. I think if you're a Caldwell fan, you look at the record. You had a 10-26 record. You want to fix that here in 2025. And they've been off to a good start. The pitching has looked strong in these first two games. They've been getting some timely at-bats from the majority of their 1-9 hitters, which is a good testament to what potentially could be a potential good year for this Cougar lineup.
Absolutely. I'm liking the depth that they have. They have a lot of guys that can produce at all levels of this lineup. And if that's the case with some of the consistent pitchers they have, they can be a threat this year.
0-1 counts. They check the runner at first, and first picked them off again. The second pickoff of the game for Michael First as they caught Brown sleeping on that one as he took a little bit of a stumble getting back to first. And now there's two away.
How about that for First? You give one up, and you take it right back. Caught Brown sleeping over there at first. Says, thank you very much. I'll take it right back.
That one chopped. And it's past the diving Bartnick and no play for Rodriguez to throw it to the first baseman that at that point was the pitcher First. So it's an infield single right there to extend the inning for Caldwell with now still two away.
That was a little odd. That ball looked like it was just a weak ground ball, but it had a ton of spin, ton of English. I think it threw A.J. Vigliotti off, and it was able to just fall in for enough of a base hit.
Well, correction, that's Chris Bartnick out at first base. Vigliotti getting the start at DH today.
The vantage point, my friend, is getting dark too. So
it is getting dark. That is true. Had to put the lights out on here at SIUH Park. Wonder how many times I've said that tonight. Won't be the first, won't be the last time I say it this week. As I mentioned, Dolphins have a lot more games this week. They play on Tuesday here against Georgian Court. Then they are back here on Friday. Then after Friday, they will be back here next Tuesday, March 11th. And on Friday, they will take on this same Caldwell team at 5:30. On March 11th, on that Tuesday, they will take on Dominican University. Count right here is 2-1. Batter at the plate, Jimmy Kurtz. Had himself so far a nice impact. He drills that one foul to even the count at 2. For those looking to watch the conclusion of the CSI softball game, tune in to our YouTube CSI Sportsnet page. Catch the final outs of that game as the Dolphins try to sweep their doubleheader today and start their young season 4-0. Had the pleasure of calling their games last week at Seton Hall. Sweep of Chestnut Hill as that one slowly hit to Rodriguez. He'll throw it onto first base in time and retire the side. As the Cougars strand a runner here in the top of the 5th, we now head to the home half of the 5th inning. Dolphins looking to get back into this game. They trail this game 4-2.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back here on the broadcast between College of Staten Island and Caldwell University. New pitcher for the Cougs. It's Johnny Amato against Chris Palomini. And you saw me talk about how important it was after CSI scored a couple runs that they had to go back out there and throw up a goose. And that's exactly what they did as Palomini takes ball one. One of the things I believe in, especially in the college game, when you get a new pitcher who hasn't had a lot of work, this is Amato's first appearance, take a couple pitches, see what he's got. As Palomini's 2-0, up 2-0 in the count. Don't give them free strikes. They have to come to you. Amato looks in. He's quickly behind 3-0. If you're Chris Palomini, you're up 3-0, taking this pitch, you're in command of this at-bat. And Palomini takes strike one on the edge. 3-1 count, somebody that has not really been around the zone in Amato. I think I might be taking this one unless he grooves it. And that looked like Palomini got a little too over-aggressive. May have swung at ball 4, down and in. Count full here. Bottom of the 5th inning, Staten Island down 4-2. Johnny Amato on the mound, Chris Palomini at the dish. And Palomini fouls it back. The Dolphins' offense came back to life last inning, and it all started with a free pass, a base hit. Before you know it, there was a lot of traffic, and that's what allowed them to score. So they're looking for something similar this inning. As Palomini strikes out, Amato delivers a slider off the edge. Definitely ball 4. And Caldwell has recorded their first out. That's a tough one for Palomini. He was up 3-0 in the count, and he let Amato back in it. Unfortunately, Caldwell is able to retire CSI's best hitter. So A.J. Vigliotti steps to the plate. He takes a slider away for ball 1. We've mentioned it before. You see Vigliotti, just true throwback. Kid rocks no batting gloves in 30-degree weather. Amato deals. Ball 2. He's getting behind these CSI hitters. So much like Palomini, Vigliotti is up in the count early. He's got to make Amato come to him. Amato gets back in the count here, similar as he did with Palomini, down 3-0. Gets a questionable strike call for number 1 to get him back in. But that doesn't matter. A.J. Vigliotti, having none of it, will draw the 1-out walk. And CSI has another base runner. J.J. Hunter up at the plate. Looking to continue the damage for CSI as he swings through a heater for strike 1. J.J. Hunter coming into today. Pretty good to start the year. Batting .333, OPS just under 900. 1 double. On base percentage, though, .455. That is a great OBP. Let's see if we can continue that. And that ball gets away. A.J. Vigliotti will trot into second base. Johnny Amato having a tough time finding the strike zone early on here. It's a free 90 for CSI. Hunter's got a duck on the pond, down 4-2 with some time left in this game, bottom of the fifth. Looking at this, Amato thus far, he's been trying to go to that slider. The one he got Polamini on was definitely way off the plate, but he's been even more inaccurate. A lot of these sliders have been bouncing and have not really been competitive pitches. The count 3-1. J.J. Hunter is the third straight Dolphin with an advantage count on Johnny Amato. And Hunter takes ball 4 inside. That is another walk. The Dolphins are in business. This looks like a big Jack Keogh spot. 2 on, 1 out, down 2. Got some ducks on the pond. Let's see what he can do against Amato. So Amato finally gets one of those benders to bend into the strike zone. No, we don't like to look back, but if Polamini was able to lay off that ball 4, it'd be bases loaded, nobody out. As Kehoe swings on a very, very inside slider. Amato is getting some swing and miss on that breaker. It's quickly 0-2. One-two count here. Caldwell pinching their middle infielders in. Corners playing back. There's a lot of space in this infield for Keogh to poke one through. And he drills one foul just a touch early on the off-speed pitch. Look like Kehoe might be able to get that one down the line just a tad early. I think if you're Amato, you've thrown a lot of off-speed, a lot of sliders here. I think I might speed him up on that one. I'd probably go back to the fastball outside. But he does not. He goes back to the breaker. If I'm Amato, I'm looking for a paint piece fastball on the outer third, on the outer edge. And that one is wild. Keogh has worked himself back into this count. It's full. This is a big pitch here. Big difference between 3 on, 1 out, or 2 on and 2 outs. Amato looks in. The payoff pitch is fouled away. This is a big league at bat from Jack Kehoe right here. Was quickly down 0-2, but has worked it back full. 1 pitch away from loading the bases. The payoff pitch. Fouled away again. Working on the 9th pitch of the at-bat here. Gotta love what you're seeing from Keogh. Amato leans in. The payoff. That ball is foul again. Typically when you're a hitter and you're working these counts like this and you're making the pitcher throw more pitches, every time the pitcher has to throw an additional pitch, it's more in favor of the hitter because you've seen a lot of his stuff. Amato looks in, and Kehoe drives one to right field on a rope, but that is caught. 2 outs. Can't do much about that. It's kind of the way it's been for CSI. They've put a lot of good swings, a lot of barrels, but it's found gloves. Regardless of outcome, that was a fantastic at-bat from Kehoe, who battled back from down 0-2, made an 11-pitch at-bat, and put a rope to dead right field. Now it's up to Bartnick, who could not check his swing. Saw CSI was able to get some early action on the bases to begin the frame, but with 2 outs, Bartnick needs to deliver here to punch through. Amato checks the runner, looks in, and that is a dirt ball. That's going to bounce 55 feet, and both runners will take a free 90. That is a big-time mistake from Johnny Amato, because now a base hit from Bartnick can tie this game. You get maybe 4 or 5 swing plays in a baseball game every game, and this is one of them. CSI has an opportunity right here. It's another bouncer. Amato's been a little bit all over the place since he's come in this inning. A lot of dirt balls, a lot of balls that are off the plate, but he's got some big swing and misses when he's needed them. 2-2 count. Bartnick swings and misses, but that ball gets away. He's running to first base, and he is safe. It's a strikeout, but a drop third strike. Bartnick, it's as good as a walk, gets on first base and keeps this inning going. And now CSI has bases loaded with 2 outs. It won't look pretty in the stat sheet, but that doesn't matter. CSI has a chance. Nico Rodriguez at the plate really needs to deliver here. And that looked like that hit him, but I don't know where it missed that. If I'm Rodriguez, though, I'm definitely wearing that one. A lot of these CSI hitters crowd the plate. They're right on the white chalk of the batter's box. And that's a bouncer. Rodriguez quickly up 2-0. And there's going to be a mound visit here. We do have action in the Caldwell bullpen, so we'll keep an eye on if it's going to be a Amato or a reliever coming in. It's a 2-0 count to Rodriguez. Amato's 2-0 count, tries to get fancy with a slide piece. That ball is nowhere close. It's 3-0 to Rodriguez with 2 outs, bases loaded. The Finns down 2 runs. This is a big, big pitch. A little get me over for Amato. A little get me over fastball. Gets him back in the count at 3-1. But at this point in the game with this situation, if I'm Rodriguez, I'm not swinging unless that ball is right down the middle. And it is not. That is going to be a bases loaded walk. Johnny Amato has walked in a run for CSI. The Dolphins are now within 1 run with a lot of action still on the play. Anthony Cetera, the 9-hitter, will have an opportunity to inflict a lot more damage with CSI trailing by 1. But more importantly, if he can reach base, that will flip the lineup to Christopher Riley, who has been red hot today.
All right, thank you, John. I appreciate it. We have to make sure we have the right substitutions for Caldwell in this inning. I think we have them all through. And as you mentioned, the Dolphins now have trimmed this game down to 1 run, and Jaden Waterman will get a pinch hit at bat here with 2 outs in the inning, and the bases are loaded. CSI trailing now by a run. And that one missed on the inside for a ball. The Dolphins have been able to work their way in this inning via walks. They have not gotten a single hit in the inning, John. Have been able to load the bases in this spot, have been able to bring home a run, and now have a chance to take the lead.
Yeah, but so what have I said all day? The main cause of a lot of these big innings, especially in college, is because of the walks. The walks kill you. They're a disaster. But for CSI, they're taking full advantage of it right now. And a base hit could really open this game back up for CSI to take the lead.
In Game 1, Waterman had himself an RBI hit. If he gets another one right here, it could give the Dolphins the lead. He's down the count here 1-2. He just got a piece of that foul. As you mentioned, if he's able to get on, the Dolphins will bring the top of the order back up with Christopher Riley on deck. A huge at-bat here in the bottom of the 5th. Dolphins now down a run. The 1-2. That one blooped into right, but playable for Young. And he just makes the catch. I thought initially it might have fallen out of the glove, and it almost did. And for Caldwell, a big sigh of relief as they get themselves out of a bases-loaded jam here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Dolphins do bring home a run here in the bottom of the 5th. We now head to the top of the 6th. Caldwell lead now is 4-3.
And we're back here in Staten Island. It's a new pitcher for the Dolphins, Anthony Solomonez. And Santiago's going to lead things off here. CSI had an opportunity to do a lot of damage. They were able to scrape a run across, but considering they had bases loaded, you would have liked to see them at least tie this game, but unfortunately that was not the case. But still, they were able to get on the scoreboard, and if you've been listening to the broadcast today, you'll have heard me say, after you score, it's one of the most important things, in my opinion, to throw up a goose the very next inning. So that will be the task of the freshman pitcher, Solomon Hayes, seeing his first action of the season. Due up for Caldwell, it's 8-9-1. And Solomon Hayes misses. Ball one. And that's outside for ball two. So the freshman quickly behind Santiago for a 2-0 count. Solomon Hayes looks in the 3-0. So get me over strike. Solomon Hayes looks in 3-1. And that one is hit right up the middle, but making a play at short. And the runner is thrown out. Great play for the College of Staten Island as a ball that looked like that might sneak up the middle was corralled for out number one.
All right, John, thank you once again for taking over the broadcasting duties. And that first out of the inning, we had to once again make sure we had the right substitution. So now coming into play shortstop for the Dolphins is Michael Flashner. He got the start in game number one. He replaces Anthony Cetera as well as Jaden Waterman. Waterman came in to pinch hit for Cetera the previous half inning. And now Flashner comes in as the defensive substitution. He will replace, as I mentioned, Waterman. And now gets the bat in the number 9 spot for CSI.
We've seen a handful of baseballs hit today that's ended up going off the pitcher's mound in some fashion. And not only does it change direction, but it's been changing speeds, and it's giving, even for batters hitting it off the pitcher's mound, it's giving these middle infielders chances to make these plays.
Christian Patino Jr. at the plate, currently 0-1. So miss for a ball, 1-1 now the count. After Patino Jr. back to the top of the lineup for the Cougars here. The 1-1. Half swing, still a strike, and it's now 1-2. I also have an update from softball. They have gone final. Softball now up to a 4-0 start after a 7-0 victory against the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. So a great start to the year for CSI softball team as they look to continue their spring games trip, as they now off to a 2-0 start on that trip. As the count now evens at 2.
It's important to get the 9-hitter here for Solomon. He's a freshman. Get up 2 quick outs. You will turn the lineup over as that one is laced between the 5 and 6 hole.
Yeah, that will not do the trick right there to get that second out of the inning. That is a 1-out single for Patino Jr., bringing back to the top of the lineup. Anthony Salmonese, as you mentioned, is the new pitcher for the Dolphins. The freshman getting his first appearance of the season. Looking to make the most of it. Dolphins have chipped away into this game, John. Down 4, have now made it a one-run contest, down to their final 6 outs. Still a lot of baseball left to play in this contest.
I think there wasn't a get-me-over, but that was a ball that was too elevated from Salmonese. He was working in a good count there. He's one pitch away from getting Patino out, but unfortunately to no avail. But now he's got to contend with the top of the lineup that has been very productive today.
We saw Christian Rennick earlier in this game with a home run bid. That one does stay fair. Bardnick goes to second, and they don't get the out, as the new shortstop Flasher could not stay on the bag via the throw from Bardnick, so that's going to go down as an E3.
You know, I really don't understand that play because that was an easy out at first base. And when you have a freshman pitcher, when it's a close game, you take the easy outs.
And, John, if you see right here, Mike Morrow, the manager for the Dolphins, is discussing on it that should have been a fair ball or not down the first base line. That was a close play towards first. And Bardnick, as you mentioned, a very interesting choice by him to go straight to second. I'm wondering if he didn't think he had a chance at first, but he was right by the bag.
I mean, he had so much time. I'm very surprised. That looked very much like a fair ball, but there was no way he was going to get a double play on that one. That is a long throw, and with the runner in the base path, that had to be a great throw. So no way was there going to be two-turn. And you pass up an opportunity when legitimately, if he just stuck his left leg out, he might have gotten on the bag. He was no joke 2 feet away from first base. So I don't really understand that. That's a blown play there and an easy opportunity to take a quick second out.
Our viewers getting a look at the play at first and seeing how close that was and being a fair or foul ball. For you CSI Sportsnet fans, a lot of Easter eggs when it comes to saying fair or foul ball. We've had a lot of interesting calls for softball and baseball when it comes down to those situations. And on that sequence right there, it gave Caldwell a chance now here with first and second, still just 1 out of the inning. Stephen Young Jr., who's had a nice day so far in these 2 games, could really make a huge difference. Dolphins, at one point down 4, have now made it a 1-run game, but a big hit for Young Jr. can increase this Caldwell lead.
Yeah, you're getting into the heart of the order here for Caldwell. This is the part of the lineup that's done the most damage, and that's why they've been able to score today. They've already scored 11 runs in 1.5 games, and going back to that play at first base that you should be stepping on the bag to get the second out. Now what happens is you don't get the out, and you're going to force your freshman pitcher in a tight spot to throw more pitches into the dangerous part of the lineup as a double steal goes.
And it hits off the glove as well, but thankfully for the Dolphins, Flashner was there to make the play. And if that's a sequence right there, if that ball, if Flasher does not get towards second base to try to cover the bag, I gotta wonder if that would have maybe gone up the field and maybe gotten a weird base hit. So a big break for CSI, and obviously now they'll look to see if Salmonese is okay.
Salmonese, he took the worst of it. That ball was smoked up the middle, and that hit him. And that actually slowed the ball down for the shortstop to be able to go make the play and get the second out of the inning. And we've seen Caldwell do this a couple times today. When they've had 2 runners on, man first and second, they do what looks like a double steal, but it's a double hit and run, and it's worked really successful today. And honestly, CSI was lucky that there wasn't any damage inflicted on there, except for maybe Salmonese's hand. But still looks like he's good. That's good news. And CSI's got an opportunity to work themselves out of a jam right now.
Yeah, he threw 1 warm-up pitch, and that's all he needed to say, I'm okay. So that's a good sign not only for himself, but of course the Dolphins dugout. And manager Mike Morrow is now the Dolphins are 1 out away from getting out of this jam. Second and third, 2 outs. Leon Lombardi has had himself also a nice day in these 2 games. Got the first run of this game, and would love to add some more runs right here. Sal misses on the outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. If he were to get on, that would load the bases. On deck for the Cougars is the new first baseman. That's Oscar Fajardo. The 1-0. Skips in the dirt, and thankfully for the Dolphins, Hunter is able to scoop it. Almost hit Lombardi as well.
You know what? I was thinking about it because I saw after Salmonese gave the thumbs up, he was shaking his right hand out. So, we don't have a replay up here, but it looked like the ball may have caught him on the hand. Either way, it's definitely tough, and you're already dealing with cold conditions as a pitcher. And we saw those first two pitches to Lombardi be not even close, and I think the hand might have something to do with it. And if I'm being honest, I think the CSI bullpen needs to get moving fast, because if Salmonese is having trouble throwing because of his hand getting hit, then it's not going to help facing Lombardi.
They do have action up on the bullpen as Lombardi does hit this one to right. Keogh on the run. He will make the catch, and that will retire the side. So Salmonese is able to work himself out of the jam, stranding two runners here in the top half of the sixth inning. We now head to the home half of the sixth. Dolphins trail this one 4-3.
We're back here in Staten Island, New York, bottom of the sixth. Chris Riley, the most productive Dolphin in Game 2, will face a new pitcher in junior righty Ryan Silnick. It's a get-me-over pitch, and Riley's done what a lot of these other Dolphin hitters have done. New pitcher, take the first pitch. But that ball's sitting over the middle, so if he throws another one of those, I expect Riley to jump all over it. Silnick tries to paint the edge, but Riley extends the zone a touch and fouls it back. It's 0-2. Riley quickly behind. 4-3. Caldwell's up. Couple at bats here for the Dolphins to try to figure something out and get themselves the lead back. 6 more outs to play with if you're CSI. Riley's hit the ball hard 2 of his 3 times, but he's been on base twice with 2 base hits. The second at bat was a ball that was well struck but caught up in the wind. Ended up flying out to semi-deep left field. Riley will step in for the 2-2. Silnick working from the stretch. Delivers. And there goes Riley. Hits it up the middle, but right at the second baseman. But the play is not made. First base drops it. That should be an error. But Riley on base for the third time today. This kid puts the ball in play. And when you do that, good things usually happen. Riley off. Leadoff base runner for CSI. As they're down one, the tying run is now on first.
At the plate for the Dolphins is the third baseman, number 10, TJ Leno.
And TJ Leno, as our wonderful PA team has announced, is up to bat, representing the winning run. Still some game left here, but it looks like Leno might drop a bunt. Fakes the bunt, pulls it back, and it's strike one. Silnick checks over on Riley. If Leno can get this bunt down and get Riley over to second base, she gets the bunt down. Silnick fields it, takes the out at first. Leno does his job, executes a very nice sacrifice bunt. Riley will move over to second. And right before that, I was about to say, if Leno can get this bunt down, now you have Riley on second with one out, and you have Palomini and A.J. Vigliotti coming up. Palomini has a great opportunity to make amends for that bad strikeout on his last time up. He fouls the first pitch away. That wind still aggressively blowing out to right field as it has all day. Outfield playing straight up. And Palomini's got to duck out of the way of that one. I don't know. I'd probably lean into that one to get on base. In any case, Palomini evens it up 1-1. Riley dancing off second. Silnick coming in. And it's a ball low. Silnick looks in for the 2-1. And Riley, or Palomini, pops it up. It's going to be a tough play, though. And the play is made. The out is secured.
Up next for the Dolphins, we got the designated hitter, number 22, A.J. Vigliotti.
A.J. Vigliotti's come up with some big knocks today. But if he can deliver one here, it'll tie the game and give the Dolphins new life. There's not many players nowadays you'll see rock no batting gloves, especially in 25-degree weather. But A.J. Vigliotti is one of them, and if it works for him, I'm all for it. That is throwback baseball for Mr. Vigliotti. He evens the count at 1-1. This is the time of the game. If you're CSI, you need to convert these opportunities. You get a leadoff base runner. It is imperative that you punch through. You need to tie this game. As Vigliotti takes a ball that is way outside. The 2-1, Silnick checking the runner, comes in. Vigliotti pops it to right, but that will get way foul. 2-2 count. Vigliotti takes a ball in. It is now a full count. Silnick checks the runner. The payoff pitch. Vigliotti fouls it away. Probably the 8th or 9th ball we've taken off here in the press box. Vigliotti reaches out. Fly ball to right field. And the play will be made. Caldwell Cougars are able to strand a leadoff base runner. And CSI going down to the final frame. It's 4-3.
CSI Dolphins 3.
It's the final frame here in this chilly Sunday night in Staten Island, New York. We've already played one, and now we're in the final frame of Game 2 between the CSI Dolphins and the Caldwell Cougars. Michael Salmonese retakes the hill. Was able to escape trouble his last inning, throwing up a much-needed goose.
Now at the plate for the Cougars, number 23, Oscar Fajardo.
Oscar Fajardo, the pinch hitter, will step in the box for the Cougars. Salmonese leans in, and Fajardo swings through a high fastball. Now, if you're Salmonese, you're looking at this for CSI, the top of the 7th. Obviously, you need a goose here. You need a no score. You keep this game at 4-3. And now if you're the Dolphins, when you step back in at the plate at the bottom of the 7th, you're playing for 1 run. As that ball is lifted to right field, but the wind is pushing that one well into the stands. Quickly an 0-2 count. Playing as a deficit of a 1-run game is much different than having to deal with a 2 or potentially even a 3-run comeback. So getting that quick shutdown inning is extremely important for CSI. Fajardo is called up on strike. Salmonese, how you doing? Little paint piece for the Frosh. It's 1 out.
Coming to bat for the Cougars will be the second baseman, number 5, Sean Brown.
Sean Brown steps in at the dish. He's been a very productive member for Caldwell this afternoon. He'll take a fastball just off the plate for ball one. Take a ball high. 2 balls, no strikes. Not sure where that one missed, but Salmonese does not get the call, and he is behind Brown 3-1. Brown being the number 5 hitter does not mean the hitters behind him are incapable of producing, because we've seen the bottom of this order do some damage today, whether that's get on or move the line or get in, get runners in. This bottom of the lineup for the Cougars is no layup. So Salmonese needs to stay aggressive here on a full count. I think I'm going to heat, outer edge. And it's a slider off the plate. And that'll be a 1-out walk for the Cougars. Sean Brown with a big-time at-bat.
Coming to plate for the Cougars will be the third baseman, number 27, Alan Hernandez.
Alan Hernandez steps back in. If you're Salmonese, you need a ground ball double play. That's a fastball up high. Salmonese sets, delivers, swing and a miss. Hernandez couldn't square up the slider. It's a 1-1 count. Big moment in the ball game. Ball a little inside. Salmonese, it's a 2-1 count. He's squaring in. And he gets the call on the edge. You could see the slider grip from up here out of his hand. You could see that spin go. And he catches the edge. That's a big strike. 2-2 count. He's been going to that slider a lot. See if he goes back to it. And that is poked to right center. Hernandez coming up with a big-time hit. And he will advance to second on the throw to third. Brown was aggressive going first to third. Both runners take an extra 90 feet. And the Caldwell Cougars' excellent aggressive base running continues here in the top of the 7th. My oh my, they have been doing this all day, and that's why they've been scoring. They've been aggressive, and they're unapologetic about it. Now it's really in crunch time. 1 out, 2 on. The Dolphins will bring the infield in. Salmonese deals. And that one is low as Kurt spits on it. Salmonese catches the outside corner. The count on Kurtz. 1-1. Salmonese delivers. He throws that slider again. Hits a first base. Checks Brown over at third. And makes the play for a monumental second out. Brown over at third thought about it, but knew he was going to be out by a mile. Santiago back up at the dish as the Dolphins' infield retreats to normal depth. Salmonese just got a big second out. But they're not out of the woods yet. Still a lot of room left. He throws a spinner, and that is out of play. We've seen Caldwell do a lot of damage with 2 outs today. CSI will make a big play, get it to 2 outs, but the Cougars use every bit of life they have. They say cats have 9 lives. I think the Caldwell Cougars believe that. The 0-1, Salmonese, looks in, deals. That's ball up high. Now you do have first base open with the bottom of the lineup up. However, loading the bases can get very, very stressful. That ball is off the plate. It's 2-1. It is an addition that we have the scoreboard for the second game. Very nice scoreboard. I enjoy looking at it. The pitch. Very nice bender for strike 2. Salmonese, 1 strike away from escaping the trouble and coming away in the top of the 7th unscathed. Salmonese leans in, deals, and that ball's hit to third base. It's going to be a tough play, and the play is not in time. Hernandez legged it out for an infield single, and a run will score.
Coming up to bat for the Cougars will be the outfielder, number 31, Justin Cifelli.
Justin Cifelli up at the plate. It's 5-1 Cougars. We're talking about that. They've loved to do a lot of damage with 2 outs today. They've been capitalizing with runners on base, and that was the latest example. Perfectly placed ball right down the third base line. Not enough time to make the throw. But he had to hustle to get there. He didn't beat it by much. There goes Hernandez at first. He takes the extra base. I've been repeating myself a lot today, but basically the central thesis has been Caldwell's ultra-aggressive style of base running. They have been causing chaos all day, taking free 90s, free 180 feet, double hit and runs. It's been a masterclass on the bases for the Cougs. As the count drops to 2-1. pitch. And that ball's blooped into center field, and Palomini will make the play to end the inning. Cougars scratch one across in the top of the 7th. It's 5-3. Last licks for the Dolphins in the bottom of the 7th, trailing by 2. We'll be right back.
At bat for the Dolphins, the catcher number 19, J.J. Hunter.
It's crunch time here. We're back at Staten Island. It's the bottom of the 7th. The Cougars lead by 2, and the Dolphins are down to their final 3 outs. J.J. Hunter steps into the plate as he takes ball 1 from Ryan Silnick. The Dolphins have had multiple opportunities in not just this game, but game 1 as well, and we're unable to get the big hit as Hunter delivers a fairly deep fly ball to left field, but that will be caught, and that is a very quick out number 1.
At bat for the Dolphins, the right fielder, number 38, Jack Kehoe.
Jack Kehoe's had a pretty good afternoon today. He worked a major league at bat in 11 pitches, getting on base as he fouls this one away. They could use a base runner right about now. CSI down to their final 2 outs. Kehoe would represent potentially moving the line. Silnick steps in on Kehoe, ropes one to right field, but Brown is there to make the play. Rather Young, I'm sorry. And that is out number 2. It's a tough break. College of Staten Island's had to deal with some hard-hit balls being right to defenders. Kehoe's had a great afternoon. That's just unfortunate. But now, any case, CSI down to their final out.
And it's going to be Johnny Bowman, John. He'll be the last chance for the Dolphins in this inning. So I was attending to a stats issue next door. We're probably going to have to attend to that issue as well after this game concludes. But the Dolphins are down to their final out in this game. Still with a chance, if they are able to get on, they would bring the tying run to the plate. A now 5-3 lead for Caldwell after that last inning where they were able to get another run. Dolphins have any more magic left in them to keep this game going. As Bowman hits that one foul down the third base line.
Just so important. 2 outs. Just got to find a way on base. Doesn't matter how it is. Walk, hit by pitch, error, drop third strike. Doesn't matter. You got to get up, and you got to give the next guy an opportunity, especially because that is the tying run.
Count now 1-1 here for Bowman. And that one misses on the outside, 2-1. For the remainder of the sitting, depending on how long it goes, we will keep our graphics off for the scoreboard. Once this game concludes, it'll be a quick sign-off here from us here at CSI Sportsnet. As I mentioned, the next time we are live for another broadcast here on the ECC network. So that's a big swing and a miss. The Dolphins now down to their final strike. The next time we are live will be this upcoming Tuesday, as the men's baseball team is back in action, taking down Georgian Court. That'll be a 5:30 first pitch start time here at SIUH Community Park. Cougars one strike away from the sweep of the doubleheader. And it misses on the outside for ball 3, so the count now full at 3-2. After Tuesday, the Dolphins then head to Lincoln University on Wednesday, and they're back right here on Friday against the same Caldwell team. A single game on Friday, and then they head to Caldwell on Saturday for a doubleheader. So 3 more games still left between these two teams after this conclusion of this second game. The full 3-2 pitch. Bowman hits this one into left. It will be playable in left field, and the catch is made, and that will do it. The Cougars of Caldwell University will sweep tonight's doubleheader as they defeat the College of Staten Island by the final score of 5-3. And John, once again, another stellar performance by this Caldwell pitching staff. Pretty much what we saw the majority of this night, only allowing just the 3 hits in this game. And now they go into their young season 2-0, whereas the Dolphins now drop to a record of 2-7.
Fantastic games from Caldwell today. Pitching was absolute nails. They ran into a little bit of trouble in the first inning of the first game, and they had one inning where it was a little shaky, but otherwise they were fantastic for probably 12 of the 14 innings today. Their offense was magnificent, especially on the bases. It caused so much discomfort for CSI, and that's why they were able to plate 12 runs in 2 games today.
And for CSI, John, the good thing for the Dolphins in this game, obviously, it does hurt to lose in this type of fashion, especially also in Game 1, a very heartbreaking loss for the Dolphins, leading that one 3-1 and falling in extra innings 7-3. The good thing for them in this game is they at least fought their way back into this one, down early 4-0 heading into the bottom of the 4th. They then made it a 4-2 game. They then made it 4-3, but the Dolphins just were not able to bring home that tying run. Caldwell got some insurance in the top half of the 7th. They were able to shut down the door in the bottom half and get this victory 5-3. John, your final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, listen, CSI, obviously it didn't go their way today, but as you said, they fought, they clawed. These were close games, and that's good news. Even though you lost 2 close games, this is the kind of opportunity. This is the time where you have to go through these growing pains early in the season. You learn how to grow from losses like this. So that way, when you're faced with similar situations further down the line later in the season, you're better adept at handling them and overcoming with a victory.
So for us here on CSI Sportsnet, the next time we will be live will be this upcoming Tuesday night, 5:30 first pitch between the Dolphins and Georgian Court here at SIUH Community Park. As for these two teams, Caldwell will meet the Dolphins once again next week, next Friday, also here at SIUH Community Park, and then they will wrap up their season series with a doubleheader at Caldwell University next Saturday. But for my broadcast partner, John Venezia, this has been Nicholas Pavona, and this has been CSI Sportsnet's coverage of tonight's doubleheader between the Cougars and the Dolphins. Once again, the final score of this game, the Cougars win 5-3. The Cougars take Game 1 7-3. Caldwell starts their season off to a 2-0 start. The Dolphins will look to get back on track on Tuesday night against Georgia Court. We'll see you all there.